What is going on, guys? Pat in the shop, and today I want to show you the #1 issue I've had with this supercharged small block Chevy 383 over the last 5-6 years that I'm finally taking care of, and I think I've got it all figured out. So let's take a look. Okay, so I want you to take a look at a side shot of what we have going on here. And keep in mind, this is not the blower we originally ran. This is the upgraded blower to help fix what the issue I'm about to explain. So originally this would be just a normal 671 WM blower, nothing fancy, just your run-of-the-mill 671. So the biggest thing that caused me the issue is right up top here. It's not the fast throttle body per se, it's what's underneath here. There's a scoop setup that actually will sit right over top of this carburetor, and the customer fell in love with it. There was no talking him out of it. He said this is the scoop he wanted. It's a low profile scoop, and the issue with that is it runs one carburetor or throttle body. Normally you'll see the supercharger stuff mounted sideways like this. You'll have two sitting on top, but this particular setup only allows for one throttle body or carburetor to sit on top. That is what posed the biggest issue with this car. Is really it came down to this scoop that was like a make or break it deal for him. It was very expensive. He had, I think, it shipped from like New Zealand or Australia or something. I'll post a picture of it. And looking at it, it looks like it has mechanical fuel injection. It doesn't. These are just dummy lines. It's all controlled by either a single like 950, 1050 carburetor or a throttle body like this. But here's the biggest issue. If you look at where this throttle body is sitting, and this is, I was worried about this right from the get-go, and rightly so, because it caused me all the issues. But if you look at where it's sitting, this is the middle of the blower, okay? Look how far forward that center line of that throttle body is, or if you're running a carburetor, it would sit right here. So you're shifting your fuel when your fuel coming in towards the front of the blower. That's issue number one. Issue number two is these WM blowers, these Roots blowers, have a natural tendency to throw the fuel to the front as the air's I guess spinning in, or whatever you want to say. It will throw it to the front cylinders. So we've shifted the throttle body to the front. It's throwing the fuel to the front. Plus, built into the case of the blower, there's a divider plate that's actually what would normally be between the two throttle bodies. The divider plate is right under, basically right under where the rear injectors would be spraying, or the rear bores of the carburetor. So now you're disrupting the fuel from the rear bowls that's supposed to feed the rear bores of the throttle body or carburetor. That's disrupting the flow to the back. The front, it's pushed. It's all the fuel is getting thrown to the front. So these rear cylinders, they don't get great fuel distribution. Like the fuel distribution through this blower is terrible. The front gets dumped with fuel. The rear runs lean. And you're tuning this thing, and I've spent years tuning this thing, trying to find a happy medium. Eventually, I'm just saying, man, this is as good as it gets. I'm sorry, like, it all comes down to this scoop. And trying to explain to him, I actually had to like show him physically exactly what I'm telling you guys and why I can't get this thing to run 100%. It ran not bad, like it's been quite a few years like this, but it took so much tuning to get there, and it ran inconsistent. 1 minute it would run fine, next thing you'd get a lean pop from the rear cylinders. This is a pump gas deal. It ended up making 550 horsepower with a setup like this, not this blower, but the old setup on fairly. It wasn't a lot of boost, so it made decent power when I could get it to run right, but it wasn't optimized. You're putting so much fuel into the front cylinders just to keep the rear cylinders semi-happy and not burn this thing down. So it's not a great setup, and if anyone's looking at running a setup like this, I wouldn't do it unless you're doing what I'm about to show you, which is seemingly the fix to all these issues, which is upgrading to one of these superchargers. So what makes this blower so neat is that it has fuel rails actually built into the side of the case of the blower. So all you need is a throttle body for air up top, and your fuel is actually injected into the blower. That's good for two reasons. You spread out your fuel for distribution, so all your cylinders are fed fairly consistently, but you also get the cooling effect, the natural cooling effect of the fuel moving through the supercharger to cool down the air charge. Remember, there's no intercooler or anything with this setup, so if you're making a little bit, 10 pounds of boost or whatever, it's going to produce a lot of heat. These blowers do produce a lot of heat, so having the fuel move through the blower is good. Another thing you'll see with this setup, and guys have had this issue before when they're making power like this, is they'll have injectors in the manifold down low, but they'll also have injectors up top. So you have 16 injectors, or maybe they'll have 4 and 8, and that allows the fuel to be pushed through the blower to cool it off, but also the fuel distribution down low. So there's the number one issue I've had with this setup from the beginning. Trying to fix this issue, like swapping the blower, caused some other issues that I'm going to talk about in an upcoming video. And I'm also going to talk about how I'm switching from the fast injection to a Holley terminator system and why that posed another problem with running this blower. So I'll cover that. If you have Instagram, make sure you follow me on Instagram, because I've actually been covering a little bit more of this stuff in between between videos and stuff, so you can actually see the car I'm working on. I'm able to post a little bit more on Instagram with filming and stuff. I can just take a quick shots and post some details of what I'm doing at the shop. So make sure you follow me on Instagram if you have Instagram. I know everyone doesn't, but if you do, it's worth a follow, and I appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments about this setup or what I'm doing, anything I missed, feel free to comment below or get a hold of me. I'm willing to let you know what I've done, what I've learned on this setup, and I might be covering some of this stuff in a future video, but feel free to comment below, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.